there, it's Casey Dimon here at TaxSaleAcademy.com. Thank you so much for joining me for our weekly question segment. This week's question comes to us from Billy. And Billy says, I know you're supposed to do proper due diligence, but what happens if you just screw up and buy the wrong property? So Billy, I don't know if maybe this is a hypothetical question or maybe you made a mistake. Hopefully not. Hopefully it's hypothetical. But first off, thank you for submitting your question. Now, there's definitely varying levels of screwing up. If you mess up by, say, overpaying just a little bit, then the result of that is you wouldn't make quite as much money as you once thought you might have on that specific property. Not that big of a deal. If you screwed up by buying an old factory that's on the EPA watch list and has been contaminated with all sorts of poisonous chemicals for the past 30 years, that's obviously a much bigger issue that you're going to have on your hands. That's likely going to involve attorneys and lots of money. And then if you completely ignore it and hope it goes away, you might start getting summons and maybe jail time, that kind of stuff. So don't ignore it. So there isn't a one-size-fits-all, this is what you should do when you screw up type approach, since it'll vary based on the level that you screwed up at on the property, that kind of thing, okay? So here's a few different steps that I would kind of take. The first step is to just kind of step back a little bit, right? Sure, you screwed up, you made a mistake, whatever it is. It's not the end of the world. Everybody makes mistakes. I've made plenty of them in my career. Some are larger than others, but we all make mistakes. Now, it's time to get over any emotional disappointment, any anger, whatever it is, and figure out what you have on your hands. What is actually going on with that property? It's so easy to get wrapped up in the moment and get down because we bought a bad property. We screwed up, right? And when we do that, we tend to over-exaggerate the real issue. So it's time to move past this and figure out what really happened. Take a look at it and start figuring it out. It's likely not as bad as you think it is. Now, once you're able to step back and take an objective look at the issues, it's time to start figuring out any potential solutions to those issues. If you bought a property where you're going to lose money, well, think of alternative ways to make that money back. Maybe you just hold on to that property a little bit longer so you can sell it at a slightly higher price point. Perhaps you sell it with owner financing, and maybe the interest rate that you will earn, the interest that you earn on that owner finance deal will make up the difference for you. Or maybe just cut your losses, lose money, write it off on your taxes, and move on to other properties. There's lots of different options. Just kind of start figuring them out. If you bought a property that has a bigger problem of some sort, maybe it's a condemnation or demolition order, perhaps code violations, right? Go ahead, figure out what you need to do to move forward. Call the county, ask them for help. They want you to be a responsible property owner. They want you to seek their help in resolving any issues that are out there, right? They want you to do what's right. They don't want you to simply ignore the fact that there are potential issues. If you ignore them, that's probably the worst thing you can do. So seek out their help. The next step, take care of it as soon as possible. Whatever it is, whatever your plan to solve that problem is, put it into action immediately. Now, I've told this story before where I received citation after citation in the mail, and what happened? Well, I just started ignoring them. They were like weed citations and citations for not clearing snow off the sidewalks. Of course, like this guy from Florida, like I don't deal with snow on the sidewalks, but I didn't even realize it was a requirement. But anyhow, I got these citations. I ignored them. I continued to ignore them. Didn't do anything with them. Kind of just shoved them in a drawer and forgot about them. But the problem is, they don't just magically go away, right? It gets bigger and bigger and bigger. They start stacking up, right? And the person on the other end, now it feels disrespected because you didn't respond. So they get more and more angry and more mad, keep sending these tickets, right? They start escalating the situation. So do whatever you have to. If it's a property issue, call the county, tell them you're working on it, get their help to resolve it. Tell them you're trying to solve their issue. Get locals to help you. Whatever the problem is, procrastination is not going to solve your issue. If anything, it's going to make it much worse. So now you've handled the problem as well. It probably wasn't as bad as you once thought it was, right? You probably worked through the whole situation. Now it's time to go back and figure out what happened, what went wrong. Usually this is the easiest part of the entire thing, but it's one that's very important. So in the case of those weed violations, that snow violation, that kind of stuff, I simply failed to take the time to learn the local ordinances and how they would have an impact on me as a tax sale investor. And obviously, that was a huge learning lesson for me early on in my career when I first started investing out of area because I wasn't familiar with other areas, ordinances, and laws, right? So maybe your valuation was just plain wrong and you can go back and rework your numbers to see where you screwed up. Whatever it is, take the time to reflect on where that deal went south. If you do this, I promise you, you won't make that same mistake again, and it'll actually help benefit your tax sale career in the long run, which is, of course, the last step. Don't do it again, right? If you truly went back and you analyzed what went wrong, how did you screw up? If you learned which steps you overlooked in the due diligence process that you just didn't do correctly, then you'll have a constant reminder of what not to do in your tax sale business. And when you have that reminder, don't let your mistake or learning lesson be forgotten after 4 or 5 years. Learn from it and don't do it again. You can guarantee I don't deal with weed ordinances or snow clearing ordinances, and I haven't in more than a decade now since I got those tickets. So Billy, hopefully this super rough process has helped you out. If somebody makes a mistake, it's not the end of the world. There's a process to get through it. And obviously, I'm in the business to make sure people don't make these kinds of mistakes that I made and other investors make out there, and to help them learn from what they are doing. But hopefully this rough outline has helped you and everybody else watching this video that might potentially make a mistake as they move forward in their tax sale career. Now, Billy, if you have a follow-up question, feel free to leave it below this video, or if anybody else watching has a question, feel free to leave it below this video or any of our other videos right here on YouTube, and I'll definitely respond to it, and I might just record a video like this one. And if you're interested in learning more about investing in tax-deferred real estate, there's a whole bunch of links down below in the description of this video, and right here on YouTube, we have over 650 videos for you to take a look through. But again, all those links down below are great resources to help you get started in the tax sale business. Hey, take care. Bye-bye.